Now, Red Bull is not a sponsor of today's episode, but it will be featured. So, shouts out to Red Bull. If you want to sponsor me, feel free. You're probably my #1 guy. I'd love to have Red Bull on the jersey, the logo, the lifestyle, because these are going to be less tracky for a little bit, probably more lifestyleish. But today I'm excited to bring you a review of the Nike Zoom VAPORFLY Next Percent 2s. And no, Nike did not send me these. As I open up the box, you will see here the receipt from Roadrunner Sports. Shouts out to Roadrunner Sports. I believe they also have an online thing. They're here in Tempe. The thing about them, they have a 90-day return policy. So, wham bam, you can tell that I've used these. And I've used these for probably, I would say right around 50 miles over the last little bit. Nothing too crazy. Longest run was like 5 miles. Shortest run was just a 2-mile sprint kind of thing, just mile out, mile back. But I'm gonna go through 5 little things on these bad boys that I think probably will either persuade you to buy them or persuade you not to buy them. All right, number 1, the price. These are expensive shoes. I don't think it says on the box, and I don't think you saw it on the receipt because it was pretty far away. These are $249.95. Now after tax, that comes around to like $260. They are not cheap shoes by any means. They are probably a more professional grade spike. If I was in high school, I would not buy these because they are that expensive. And you don't get too much for the price point unless you're going to use them to their full potential. If you're going to use them as like a daily trainer, if you're going to use them for daily long runs, if you're going to try and get as much use out of them as possible, I would say probably not worth $263 or 200 whatever, 45 regular price dollars. If you go through that Roadrunner Sports or whatever, they're also not a sponsor. They have like a 20% discount if you become a member for a year, but the 20% discount if you buy these shoes then kind of negates itself, so you're basically paying the same for just the shoes, then you get $20 onto it. It doesn't make a lot of sense, but you get $90 return or 90-day returns. So you can literally, I could destroy these things. I could run on these for 90 days, which is probably the max life of these, which is the whole cost benefit analysis thing. They're not worth the cost. They get less mileage out of these shoes than say your standard Pegasus. Your standard Pegasus is going to be a little bit more robust. It's gonna hold up to the test of time, unlike these. And I'll get back to this guy versus these guys in a second. These guys, they are expensive shoes and you don't get a ton of use out of them. Maybe they're gonna max out at around, I'm gonna say 200 miles because I've run, like I said, around 50 in them, and the soles are still pretty good. There's almost no wear and tear on them. But like I said, I'm running max 5 miles. I'm not destroying these bad boys, and I'm not trying to destroy them. I'm running on paved roads. I'm barely running in gravel. I ran in gravel for a second on my way, but you can kind of tell the toes are wearing out a little bit. There's a little bit of wear there, which isn't ideal, but that being said, they are interesting shoes. That brings me to my second point about these bad boys, which is comfortability or comfortable. How comfortable they are. They are very comfortable shoes. I bought these because I put them in the store. I didn't go to the store to personally buy these shoes or like pre-research buy these shoes. I honestly don't know anything about these shoes. I don't know if they have the carbon plate in them. I don't know if they have some special foam technology. I'm sure they do. They're Nike. They're trying to do everything. They did that whole thing with the unbranded spike at the Olympic trials. Currently the Olympic trials are postponed because it's too hot, but I'm out here running 5 miles in 109-degree heat and I'm not dying. Anyways, the shoes themselves are very comfortable because they are very thick sole. They force you to kind of roll and not take a ton of impact on the front of your foot. You can, that's why they are so, I don't know if you want to call it cambered or rocked forward, but they do have, they're comfortable. They're not an uncomfortable shoe. The only thing I do find that is very, 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 very uncomfortable and makes these shoes that I'm going to return is the heel lock. If you can tell here on the backs, there is a little bit of a red spot on each of these heels because it is digging into my Achilles. On the inside there is a little bit of a black heel lock, and it's actually like a little pad, but that little pad doesn't do anything for the razor wire that is the stitching around the top of this shoe. And it isn't like, once this little guy folds back, because that folds back every single time you run in these shoes, I don't care who you are, I guarantee that folds back, and it takes away all of the, it literally just turns into a razor blade digging into your Achilles for 5 miles for an hour. So I'm not a huge fan of that part. Other than that, they're designed to be very light, so the uppers aren't going to provide a lot of support. They're basically just there to hold your foot to the, we'll call this the plate, or whatever you want to really call it, the outer sole, the outsole of the shoe, the sole of the shoe. They are going to be a little bit narrower, so I think you're going to be a little bit more prone to kind of rolling an ankle. Like I said, this is going to be a little bit more narrow than, say, your standard Pegasus. Pegasus is going to be a little bit wider. They're kind of cutting down a little bit of material on this guy. Durability on this guy is going to be a little bit less because it has that exposed foam. Going back to the Pegasus, no exposed foam there. This has a little bit of some harder rubber on the back here on the sides, but up here, very hard rubber, good rubber. I would assume they're kind of trying to get you to run more forefoot. Realistically, if I'm running more distance stuff, I'm going to be running a little bit heel toe, and right here on the midfoot, there is a section on each side where when you compress down, 185 pounds, it's going to compress this foam a little bit, that inner foam is going to wear out very, very quickly. They're comfortable shoes, but I am actually returning them because they do not make me feel good. They destroy my Achilles, and that could have just been from the first time I went running in them. They kind of hurt my Achilles, and then it's continued to be hurt since then. But I would assume that it's probably going to hurt my Achilles every single time I run in them because it does have this exposed stitching in the back here with not a lot of comfort. If you wore long socks the entire time, maybe that would help. My socks did come above the shoe. I was actually trying some new socks out from Kane 11. I'll probably report back to those eventually. But with these shoes, it does kind of just dig into the back of my Achilles there. Now, like I said, I probably put 50 miles or so on these bad boys. And I will say that I think that there is a slight increase in performance. Like I said, I put these on in the store, not expecting to buy them. I went there to just try on a bunch of different shoes, see which ones I wanted to try and run some distance stuff in. I tried on the Hokas, like the Carbon X or whatever they're called. I tried on some On running ones. I tried on a bunch of different ones, and these did feel like they were the springiest, like they were gonna help my knee the most. I wanted something that wasn't gonna have like super harsh impacts on my knee, which these have been helping. I will say that my knee after running in these is a little bit less beat up when I go run in my Pegasus. These though do increase performance a little bit. I think it is easier to hold a normal pace for me. My normal pace is just under 8 minutes. Like I can cruise it just under 8 minutes, have a conversation, chill out, relax, not feel like I'm dying, and that's 8-minute mile pace. These make it so that I can cruise at that pace just as easy, if not probably dip down into like the 7:45, 7:30 pace, which is like a comfortable pace. And then I did a 2 mile, like kind of up tempo sprints, like a mile out, a mile back, just to see what I was doing. And I was right around like 6:10 per mile, which is not bad for me. I'm not like crazy athletic by any means, well, crazy distance athletic by any means. So I think that these helped in that. Sense, but I wouldn't say that I would get them just for their performance increase, unless I was one of those like distance runners, 10K guys that are going to be running on road races or running marathons or running something like that. If I was running a marathon, I probably would actually enjoy these quite a bit. I would just tape the crap out of the back here, and I think that probably would be a good investment, but I would probably only wear them in like specific training, or wear them for very long distances. That brings us to point numero cuatro, or number 4 if you're not familiar with Spanish. The look of them. I think they actually look pretty good. On your feet, they do look kind of funky. They look like they're almost like turned in. I don't know if that's just because of the swoosh, but the swoosh is on all of my other spikes, like actual spikes that look like this. So I don't think that that's kind of throwing me off. I think that it is just, you have such a narrow heel that kind of tapers into a more pointed front here that makes it look like your feet are kind of pigeon-toed in. Other than that, I don't think that they look like bad shoes. I think they look pretty sleek. The uppers, whatever socks you're wearing, I wear some bright green socks sometimes. They show through if you wear black socks or white socks. They show through, and they look pretty clean. I will say that. I don't know if that's just this colorway, but they do show blood, so maybe a negative on that look, but pretty minimal. Even though the Nike swoosh is quite large across the front, when you're running, like if someone were to walk up next to you, they probably wouldn't be able to tell like straight off the bat that they're Nikes, outside of like the fact that it says Nike on the tongue. But if that's like not visible, if that's tucked in or covered by the laces or something, you're probably not going to notice that this is immediately a Nike shoe, which can, and in my case probably is like a benefit, rather than like supporting a brand that doesn't give me money or free shoes. Like if I just run in them, nobody's going to necessarily know. The other thing is, if somebody does know, they're probably going to expect you to be a legit runner, because you spent $250 on a pair of trainers. So if you're a little self-conscious, maybe not the shoe for you. Maybe build up to it. Once you're clicking off those 5-minute miles, then maybe these are the shoes for you. I would never wear these on track. That is also another thing. I would never wear these for anything that is going to require me to turn, because they are a little bit taller and they are narrow. So I feel like I would roll my ankle instantly if I was trying to run a curve at any sort of speed in these shoes. Now to number 5, real world use of these shoes. You're never going to wear these around as just like an everyday, like, oh, let's go for a hike, let's go for this, because you're going to be so afraid to beat them up. They are going to be a performance shoe. So like, I'm only wearing these for my runs. I went on a hike the other day, or my Pegasus, but I'll also go to the track and run some 200s in my Pegasus. They're a little bit more versatile shoe. This real world impact, real world usage is literally just going to be long runs or training long runs. And for me, they're not even going to be long runs on a track or workouts on a track. So if I was a high schooler and I was like, Mom, I need the next percents, I would not get these. Like, if you're a high schooler and you're not training for a marathon or like a 10K or something that's not on the track, I would not get these shoes. I guess if you're running a 10K on the track, potentially, maybe a 5K, but if I'm running a 5K, I'm probably going to go down to a spike. Even if I'm running a 10K, I'm probably going to be running a spike, not in these. These, I think, are strictly for road racing, and I would not buy them if I was a high schooler. I would want to try multiple events if I'm in high school, so I'm going to go with something. I always recommend the Pegasus just because it's a shoe that's not as stiff as the structure, but it's not as soft as like a Vomero or something. It's right in the middle. It's a sweet spot. You can do some faster workouts in it. You can do some slower, longer runs in it, and you're not going to feel like you're going to be blown up. So that's the Pegasus. These are the Zoom Next percents. 2, I guess I should say. The percent is measured in a lab and verified with medals and records. Well, there you go. It says on the side of the shoe, medals and records right there. Seeing as that all the medals are about to come this year, I would assume that these aren't, there's probably not too many medals that come from these bad boys. But real world application, it's not super high. This is not a shoe that you can just wear around. I mean, you could, but I think it would be super uncomfortable. You're always going to be rocking forward. You're going to want to race all your friends as soon as you get in the movie theater. You're going to be like, oh, let's get out of here. Boom. So I'm going to say they have almost no real world application outside of running. Other than that, they're comfortable shoes outside of the Achilles. They are a very expensive shoe. So you can get, if you go to the Nike factory store, I could get 5 pairs of Pegasus 36s or 1 pair of these. And Pegasus 36s are going to be way more applicable to these, but I wanted to try them out because I wanted to see if they would help my knee. They do, but not enough for me to justify the price tag. And the fact that they're going to be worn out in like probably another month. So that's going to be the end of today's review. It is a real world review. I'm not going to give you any stats about these because I don't know them myself. I bought them just as you would have bought them to go test them out. I get to test them out so that you guys don't have to. So I guess that's one of the things. I was excited to try them because I had heard a lot about them. I'd seen other people wear them. Emma Abrahamson, old teammate of mine, she ran in them quite a bit. I saw on her Instagram stories. So maybe hit up her if you want more specific stuff or more distance related stuff. I'm a sprinter. Realistically, the longest distance I'm gonna run is 1,500 meters. So I'm pretty much a sprinter. And these just didn't tickle my fancy. So if you hold them this way, you can kind of see the more pigeon-toed thing what I'm talking about. See how like the toes are? I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but hope you guys are having an awesome day. Hope this review kind of gave you an option or like an idea of what's up with these shoes and why they're so expensive. And I honestly don't know why they're so expensive. They just seem like a thicker soled Nike running shoe. If you've already worn them, please leave a comment down below what you thought about them. If you think you're gonna buy them, I would say try them. Try and find a store like I found where I can purchase them, test them out for 90 days, and then return them for any other pair or get my full return money back. I'm probably gonna get another pair of potentially trail running shoes because I live right next to a mountain, and I've been doing a lot more hiking recently. So if you have another shoe that you wanted me to try on or you think would probably work better for me, leave that in the comments below too. Just leave a comment saying hi, realistically. Just try and grow the channel a little bit. Get a little engagement going here, you know what I mean? Lots of big things coming up. Not really. I'm editing videos for Clayton Murphy and Devin Allen, so that's kind of cool. Devin Allen just qualified for the Olympic team. So did Clayton Murphy. Clayton Murphy won. Devin Allen was second. Devin Allen owns the house that I'm living in, so that's kind of cool too. Check out MitchModin.com. G2G bars are a sponsor. Well, not a sponsor. I have an affiliate thing with them. So is Happy Viking. So if you like protein, those are 2 protein bars and a protein shake. They're both delicious. Hope you guys have an awesome day. I'll talk to you guys all very soon. Thank you. Goodbye.